right, guys. Well, it's Thursday and you are expecting a Thursday build series video. Well, I tell you what, we're kind of getting started on a new build series project, but we wanted to insert something a little bit new for today. You guys that have been following the channel know that we're kind of like trying to refine things as we go and keep it interesting and implement new things. So, for today's Thursday video, we are going to do an HHI Dominator Swingarm install on this FXR project we have in the shop. So this is the classic Dominator Swingarm that you can find on our website, Nowaskey.com. We have this available for FXR, early model bagger and late model bagger. This particular one is the raw machine finish, but they are available in black and gold and chrome as well. So Jake is going to take over this video and do an in-depth install on this swing arm. So he's gonna go over some different tools that you might need, some different procedures that you might experience or go through installing this, and torque specs and things like that, just so you all at home, when you buy a swing arm, you got a good idea of what it takes to do that. So today it just worked out perfect. We got an FXR on the lift and a swing arm to install. So I'm gonna turn this over to Jake and you're gonna learn something today.
Today we're going to be installing the HHI Dominator Swingarm for FXR. It's the same swing arm essentially as the Dominator for the other models. There is a few different things that I will go over as I install it. Start by the fact that FXRs and early model baggers and everything until I believe 99 was a Timken bearing that was not sealed, and it was a 3/4 bearing. So we have a 3/4 inch axle. And in order to work in this swing arm, they have some spacers or bushings that go in there. So we're gonna keep them there. They are the same, so they're universal, but we're gonna keep them there so we don't lose them while we install this. Another key point is, as you can see, we already have the old swing arm off, so we're starting from a neutral position. But the pivot shaft that was in there came with these spacers. These will not be used as the HHI swing arm comes with these. So if you notice, they are different. So we want to make sure that we're using the one that comes with the HHI swing arm. So for reference, so I don't use these accidentally, you can see they're different color and whatnot, different material, but we're gonna put these over here. So installing a swing arm is essentially the same on FXR, touring bikes, similar on Softails and whatnot, but we're going to get everything in here and lined up. However, things that you need to make sure that are in there. Being an FXR, touring bikes, they come with rubber bushings or rubber motor mounts for the rear. So they have an indent in there. And both sides of the clevis or pivot shaft mount has a tab. We want to make sure that that lines up with that, because as you can see, the hole is not centered. So I'm going to put this one in here and make sure it's lined up. And it's going to fall out on me. So I want to be careful doing this so I don't mar up this swing arm. I'm going to take up one of the said bushings. Oh, I already have one in there, never mind. So sometimes you might need to wiggle the transmission or whatnot. As you can see, It's loose, so it will move. So I'm gonna make sure that's in there. And I'm gonna take my pivot shaft bolt, or my pivot shaft, and I'm going to line everything up. Now, you notice on this side, I don't have anything in there yet because I can put that in after. Sometimes to get everything to go in correctly, obviously you need a little rubber mallet or whatnot. I say rubber or dead blow because you don't want to beat against something you're going to put a nut on with a metal hammer and get that to have an issue. So now I'm going to go over here and verify that my tab in the rubber and my tab on the mount are lined up, which they are. Now at this point, I'm going to take this bushing, put this one in this side, just like so. And I'm going to take this rubber mount and this mount. I'm going to put the rubber mount on there and just kind of use this to kind of align where I want to be. I will need a pry bar. And I like to use a rag or whatnot just to keep that from mucking anything up. So then I'm going to put that on there and line that up and make sure my bolt holes line up. Once they do, I'm going to grab my bolts, some red Loctite. Now I'm off just a little bit. So once again, I'm going to take a rag, pry bar, just to get this started. And get this one started. There's that. At this point, I'm going to take my torque wrench I'm going to set it to 45 foot-pounds. This is a 5/8 standard socket. While I'm tightening this, one thing I would like to point out about the HHI Swingarm compared to others that I've put on is the spherical bearings that are in the swingarm are already installed when we get the swingarm, so you don't need a press to press them in, so it makes it easier for the DIY guy at home to install them. So now that those are torqued, I'm going to verify that my pivot shaft is in the correct spot. So if you come over here and look, if you can see in there, you can see how it does not come through and it's offset. I want to verify and make sure that I have it so that it comes through. It's not offset, because otherwise your swing arm is not installed properly and you will have extra flex in there, and that's not what you want. You'll end up with wobble. So the easiest way to do it is just kind of take a pry bar on the end there a little bit and just kind of get it lined up. And then I'm going to start by installing if you look, there is a recess on this washer, I guess you'll call it. That is going to go over that pivot shaft. And then you're going to take some blue Loctite. I'm going to start to thread that on there. This is at 11/16. I don't know if this is a 3/4. This is a 3/4 socket. Now that I have that there, I'm actually going to take this . Now, when I'm doing that, I'm making sure that my nut was threaded on there sufficiently. This rests up against the nut, not against any threads or anything like that, to not muck up your threads. So that way I can continue to push that through to the other side to make sure everything is lined up. And now if you come over here and look, you can see that I am centered. So at that time, I'm going to just make sure, just verify. I always like to check and double check. I would hate to ride down the road and have some wobble and realize I did the job incorrectly. Some more blue Loctite. So once again, I'm going to grab the torque wrench and I'm going to set it to 45 foot-pounds for the pivot shaft also. I'm going to put one on this side. I'm going to put one on that side. So I'm going to torque the one to 45 foot-pounds. Now, I'm going to switch sides and do this side also, because just because you got one at 45 doesn't mean the other one went to 45, as you can see. So at that point, I have everything on my swing arm. You see how it's nice and tight. There's no flex. Moves up and down freely. It's got some force on, or some tension on it, but that's how they all are. But this way you're not slopping around. One thing I would like to point out is make sure you either hang your belt or your chain, because if you don't, it ends up down here. You didn't get it around the swing arm around it. You'll be taking the swing arm back off to put back on. It is something I have done a time or two, so I always make sure I hang it beforehand. So at this point, I'm gonna put the axle in there so I don't lose any of the pieces. I am not gonna put the tire in yet, as that will continue on later in the build of this bike. I just want to show the swing arm at this time. Then you have the nut that goes on there. And then you have a C-clip. I'm not going to put the C-clip on because I have to take this back off when I put the wheel on. So pretty easy install. Pick yours up at Nowaskey.com today. If you like the video, make sure to hit thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel.